There is something very modern about virtual reality. The idea that we can step into another world. The idea that environments can change how we feel. The idea that we can immerse ourselves into an experience rather than just observe it. Virtual reality feels futuristic, technological, scary, and new. But psychologically, this way of experiencing reality isn't new at all. In fact, the foundations of virtual reality may have been built over 200 years ago, during the Romantic era. Because Romanticism didn't just change art, it changed how humans experience reality today. Experience reality itself. To understand Romanticism, we need to understand what came before it. The late 1800s were dominated by two major forces, the Enlightenment and the Industrial Revolution. The Enlightenment emphasized reason, logic, science, and rational thinking. Thinkers like Newton and Locke focused on understanding the world objectively. Science was advancing rapidly. Newton had explained gravity. Advances in astronomy were reshaping humanity's understanding of the universe. Industrialization began transforming cities and daily lives. At the same time, Industrial Revolution changed how people lived. Factories replaced nature. Cities expanded rapidly. Life became structured and mechanical. Many thinkers began to feel that something essential was lost. Emotion, individual experiences, nature, imagination, and Romanticism emerged as a reaction to this. It wasn't anti-science, but it was a response to a world becoming too rational, too structured, and too mechanical. Romanticism brought back emotion to the center of human lives. And this is where things start to become interesting. Because Romanticism didn't just change what people thought, it changed how people perceived reality. Most important ideas of the Romanticism was the sublime. The concept of the sublime was explored by Immanuel Kant. The sublime described the feeling of being overwhelmed by something vast, powerful, or beyond human understanding. Examples like mountains, storms, oceans, night skies. Burke described the sublime as something that creates a mix of awe, fear, and wonder. Because this is the first time in the Western thought that the environments were understood as emotional experiences. You were not just looking at nature, you were experiencing it psychologically. This is extremely similar to how virtual reality works today. Virtual realities are designed to create awe, create immersion, create emotional reactions. Romanticism created the psychological framework for immersive environments. Virtual reality created the technological framework. Consider The Wanderer Above the Sea of Fog by Caspar David Friedrich. A lone figure stands on a cliff looking over a vast foggy landscape. This painting is important for several reasons. The figure is turned away from us. We are invited to step into his perspective. The environment dominates the experience. This is remarkably similar to first-person perspective in virtual reality. The viewer is psychologically placed inside the environment. Modern neuroscience explains why Romanticism worked so effectively. Research in cognitive science shows that when we view immersive environments, our mirror neurons activate, our brains stimulate movement, our emotional centers engage. Studies in neuroscience show that when we look at landscapes, our brain partially processes them as if we're physically present. This is why movies can make us feel fear, music can make us feel nostalgia, art can make us feel emotional immersion. Virtual reality simply intensifies what the brain had already done naturally. Romanticism exploited logical mechanism a long time ago, before neuroscience actually understood it. Romantic artists intuitively understood that environments shape emotions. During the Romantic period, immersive visual technologies were already emerging. For example, the panorama during the late 18th century. Panoramas were large circular paintings displayed in round buildings. Visitors would stay in the center, surrounded by a 360-degree environment. This was one of the earliest immersive visual experiences. People describe the panorama as formative, emotional, immersive. This sounds remarkably like the modern virtual reality. Panorama was essentially analog virtual reality. Romanticism also introduced the idea that escaping reality was meaningful. Romantic writers wrote about distant relationships, imagination, and emotional journeys. If we trace the progression question back, Romanticism would then equal to emotional immersion, panoramas to visual immersion, cinema, narrative immersion, video games, interactive immersion, virtual reality will then be a full immersion. Romanticism begins this trajectory. It shifts humans from observing reality to experiencing reality. We live in immersive environments constantly. Movies, music, gaming, social media, virtual reality. We don't consume content, we enter experiences. Romanticism prepared us for this psychologically. It trained us to value immersion, seek experimental environments, escape into imaginary worlds. Virtual reality is not a technological development. It is a continuation of a cultural and psychological evolution. Romanticism did not just change art. It changed how humans experience reality. It taught us to step into landscapes, feel environments, immerse ourselves emotionally. Virtual reality is simply the technological response to this desire. Romantic painters created with paint what romantic poets created with words. Virtual reality now creates with technology. The desire has always been the same. Not just to see the world, but step into it.